It's Zelensky. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Recently, we'd undertaken several rounds of voting to determine who was next going to go under the Tudor scope. There were a variety of different selections, and the winner of each group then went off into a further round. And thus, Tom Hanks, Diana, Princess of Wales, Mother Teresa, President Zelensky, and Jim Carrey all found themselves going up against one another to determine who would be examined. After 9,000 votes, that was with Jim Carrey on 8%, Tom Hanks on 18%, Mother Teresa on 20%, Zelensky on 25%, and Diana, Princess of Wales, on 29%. I deemed, therefore, that because three of them were front runners, it would be appropriate to have a runoff between the three of them. And thus, with the choices narrowed down, Mother Teresa, after 10,000 votes had been cast, came in third with 26% of the vote. Diana, Princess of Wales, came in second with 35% of the vote. But the winner by 4 percentage points is President Zelensky, and therefore he will find himself as another subject to go under the Tudor scope. He was born on the 25th of January 1978, and he's a Ukrainian politician and former comedian and actor who is the sixth and current president of Ukraine since 2019. To some, he is seen as an absolute hero who has taken on the mantle of his presidency only to then find his country to be the victim of unnecessary aggression from Russia. His country then invaded. He has issued rallying calls and has sought the assistance of the West in order to repel the invasion. Initially, Russia expected that they would steamroller Ukraine and that they would depose Zelensky in a matter of hours and days, and that they would place their own president in place in Ukraine. And there's some very interesting information which I will be examining in relation to the circumstances of what was meant to happen in that regard. The invasion did not go as planned. It did not result in the subjugation of Ukrainian forces after a short period of time, as Russia had anticipated, and instead has turned into a protracted war. We're going to look at Volodymyr Zelensky, who was born to a Ukrainian Jewish family, to work out what he is. As you know, I categorize by virtue to empath, normal, narcissistic person who's not a narcissist, and narcissist. Where might we place Volodymyr Zelensky on that baseline characterization to learn more about what drives him, what makes him tick? Is this an instance of an empathic man who took the reins of government and then, when facing aggression from an external actor, has demonstrated considerable resolve, compassion for his people, and perhaps has responded with super empathy to fight off the invaders? Might this just be a normal who cares about those around him, but essentially doesn't behave in the way that an empath does? He's taken his responsibilities seriously, and in so doing has caused many people to admire him. Alternatively, in order to get into the position that he did, by once being a comedian and then deciding that he was going to run for the presidency, is he a self-absorbed individual who's just out for himself, but has been thrust into making decisions and defending his country by virtue of the invasion, and has acquitted himself as best as he possibly can? Alternatively, are we looking at a narcissist, albeit one that has been characterized as being on the side of good in dealing with the evil Russian aggressor as it's been painted? Is it the case that his own need for control and the fact that his country has been invaded amounts to a massive threat to control has galvanized him into the kind of action that we have seen, strutting around in the fatigues that he wears, appearing, giving daily updates from his bunker? Is this pride and this need for control and the receipt of fuel proven hugely effective in ensuring Zelensky courts Western nations to receive military equipment and funding? Is it the case that his narcissism has driven him to make the inspiring speeches? Or has this come from a place of inner resilience because of his massive emotional empathy for his people that has inspired him, that has imbued him with bravery? There's no doubt that he has been prominent in terms of a figurehead to inspire those within his country, that he has been working unceasingly for the purposes of ensuring that his country receives the aid and assistance. There are, of course, those that believe that he is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the United States and the West. There are some who believe that he is simply a puppet for other masters that are making him do the running around. There are some that formed the view that he, in effect, has been the aggressor with regard to his overtures towards NATO, and the fact that allying himself with the West has meant that, contrary to an assertion that was given many years ago to Russia that there would be no further eastward expansion of NATO, that has actually continued to happen. And therefore, Putin's invasion is simply necessary to protect his own position in light of the aggression from the West. And Zelensky has found himself caught up in the pissing match between these nations. Whatever your view might be about the overall politics of the situation, that is largely irrelevant with regard to making a determination as to what he is. Instead, we're going to be looking at where he grew up, what his relationship was with his parents, how he found himself in the position of power that he is, how he's acquitted himself since. Whilst there be those that might say, is it not unfair to judge him when he's dealing with a stressful situation such as a war? The answer is no, because in actual fact, that assists us in understanding more about what he is by virtue of his responses. It also enables us to look at such matters with regard to why he's made the decisions that he has. Has he made tough decisions but done so exhibiting emotional empathy? Or does it demonstrate that he has the necessity to seek control and wield power in that way? We'll be looking at who he has courted, what he has said, who he has dealt with. We'll also be looking at the issue of his personal finances, whereby he seems to have suddenly become a rather wealthy individual. And what does that mean? How does that impact upon him? We will look, naturally, at a detailed body of evidence to make a determination about what Vladimir Zelensky is. This isn't about saying whether he's a good or a bad person, but simply what he is. And then you can make your own determination as to whether you think that makes him a good or bad person. That's your perspective that provides that lens. What I'll be doing is working my way through a substantial body of evidence about Vladimir Zelensky to look for the key indicators that determine what he is as a person, as we put the President of Ukraine under the Tudor scope. So keep your eyes peeled for what will be an engrossing series and analysis coming soon.